Wanting to own the Sydney Grace Enduring Love palette? Maybe you just want 1 or 2 shades out of the palette with the Sydney Grace formula. You've come to the right video. We are going to be going over some of the Sydney Grace shadows in my single shadow collection that can show you for alternatives if you just want to own a few of the shades out of this palette. Hi, I'm Kendra Morgan Official, and I like to put out content centered around single eyeshadows with a side of palettes, makeup brushes, and sunscreen. So if you like that kind of content, you know the drill. Get down there and subscribe. Let's get started. Okay, before we go too much further, this is going to be broken down into 2 sections. I will show you guys, sorry about the creaking. Okay, shouldn't be a problem anymore. I'm going to break this down into 2 sections. I'm going to look at the shimmers, and then I'm going to look at the matte formulas and see what I have in my collection that can essentially give you the same shade or a very similar shade without having to spend $52 on the palette. Or maybe it comes in and out of stock and you're really not able to pick it up when you see it on sale. So before I get started, I do want to note the shadows do come out of the pan, but they are rather tricky to get out. But this is a magnetic pan, and these shadows are stainless steel, so they can stick to a magnetic back. I don't plan to take the shadows out of my palette per se, but just information and food for thought. Let's start with the shimmers in the palette, and I'm going to go with some colored shimmers to dupe out these shades right here. Okay, this is what I've got from Sydney Grace. And then over here, we want to find some shadows that are similar to this shade right up here in the top. So let's go ahead and swatch Elizabeth right there. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and give you guys kind of what I have as options. So the first option I see here that looks like it leans a little bit more plum than it does actual like berry crimson would be Sweetheart. And here it is. Oops. So just a little bit more plummy, but actually it's very similar in shade. So that'd be a really, really good option. Sweetheart. Yeah, I actually can't really tell a difference at all. So maybe it is the shade Sweetheart in the singles. Maybe. I don't know. The next shade that would be similar, I think the new one that they put out was Lost Love, excuse me. Let me go ahead and grab my cleaner, and I'm going to go ahead and swatch that for you. And that is probably a little bit more brown than it is red. But again, you know, let's say you like the shade, but maybe not as crimson or berry toned. You'd want it a little bit more neutral. You could go with Lost Love. This is also a more satin formula, not necessarily on the metallic side. And then finally, oh, come on, silly. Oh, it's really stuck in there good. Oh yeah, it was like stuck with glue. Okay, Forever Enough. This does look like it leans a little bit more maroon, probably trending towards the brown side, but again, Forever Enough. If you wanted a more, you know, this is obviously more metallic, but again, another option if you kind of wanted to go more neutral. Less cranberry, more maroon. So those are what I have for that shade right there. And let's move on to Ruth and Deanna. Hopefully this didn't stain. Oh no, it didn't. Okay, so Ruth is right here. I'm going to go ahead and get a swatch going on this hand. Nice, nice. Really liking that a lot. Go ahead and take these out. You guys are hopefully seeing some B-roll, but I am trying to keep track of what I chose here. Okay, Let's see what we've got. Only thing that I see that looks somewhat similar. Ooh, that's going to be a stretch, folks. This is Aqua Fever. Yeah, I think this is going to be a stretch. Definitely leans more aqua, not as blue. I wonder if I have anything in the neutrals that would give me that blue shade. Let's open it up real quick and look. Maybe this one. Maybe. Let's take a look. Collective. It's still not quite the same, is it? Yeah, definitely more blue, more toned down, I would say. Blue, more neutralized, if you will. An option. I would say an alternative, not really like nothing like basically the dupe shade, the Sweetheart versus Elizabeth. That one pretty much, I couldn't really tell the difference. I don't know if you guys saw it on camera or not, but I couldn't tell the difference. Let's pull out this shade right here. But again, don't really think we're that close. But I want you guys to have options, and this is Purple Sky. Oh, this is beautiful, by the way. Yeah, let's just look at it. Yeah, I think it's very beautiful. Probably the best alternative, but it's not really quite as turquoise. This is like a teal. And this is definitely a blue with like a black base kind of. And then it's kind of got like a purple shift. It's, you know, an option. Don't know if it's like the main one that I would choose. Okay, so I'm just going to try and pick out one or two from each. I think if I start finding ones that are like nailing them on the head, I'll probably just go ahead and go with those one. Unless I see, somebody wanting to own a shadow from this palette. Like, I really see folks wanting this shade and, someone wanting the palette for this shade. That's what I see. Let's move on to Deanna. Deanna looks like this olive wood green, really grungy, super bronzed, grungy, metallic. Very beautiful. Let's see what we've got. I'm going to look in neutral shimmers because I believe that's what I saw first. That matched. Do we think this one does? Do we see that as a match? I think I'm going to use this one because this one also has a high luster, and that is Recruit. A little more golden, a little less olive, but it's an option. Try to keep my hands somewhat clean for this show. This again is probably going to lean more golden. Commission, but this is also a Sydney Grace staple or favorite, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, again, very golden. It has almost dupes for those two shades within themselves. But nonetheless, if you wanted to go lighter, let's say your skin was fair, so you wanted like a fair shade of that olive, but carries out that vibe, yeah, you could go with that. You could definitely go with that. Let's do, I've seen it here. This one? Yeah, I think this one might be our best bet. It's going to have a little bit more blue, less yellow, so it's not going to look quite as olive. Again, I'm not sure if it's going to carry out the vibe that we're looking for, but let's try it. Okay, yeah. There's your dark, grungy. This is more olive drab green, and this has got like more of a golden olive, but it would be good. A little bit more saturation as well. Moving on to, let's do Devotion now. Let's do Devotion. Okay, we're back. Everything's cleaned off. Here's Devotion. Ooh, this looks a little bit pink champagne, but it's kind of looking more nude on my hand. Oh, look at that formula. Wow, 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 wow. Let's see what we got. Really eager to see here. This one. This one's kind of looking blushed. Yes, yes, yes. And this is also a Sydney Grace favorite. A lot of people like this shade. Okay, I would say it's probably going to be as close as you're going to get as a dupe or an alternative shade. I'll run through and look to see if any of these other ones. Strawberries and Cream is going to be too pink. And then Paris, I feel like, yeah, Paris might work too. There you go. A little bit more saturated, a little less like luster. So there's that. Not really seeing anything else that strikes, but let's just go ahead and do this one real quick. This is the Strawberries and Cream that I originally had picked up and said, no, it's not going to work. Watch it work out better than the other ones. Yeah, again, a little bit more in that saturation, not as nude looking. Well, I say that and it looks almost identical on camera, but I can promise you there is a high luster on this. So you can see it right there. And then if I try and get this, there you go. There's a little bit more pigmentation. Can you see it from the Strawberries and Cream? But again, probably closer than this middle shade. Okay, let's move on to Romeo, Albert, and John as our shimmers before we move on to the mattes. Okay, getting a swatch of Romeo here on the hand. Ooh, it's very pastel-y, shimmery, baby pink. I just picked up this, and I think it is called, yeah, Aim High. This probably doesn't have as much baby pink, but yeah, it would give you kind of a similar vibe. Just not that baby pink. We could go a little bit too pink. Let's say you were in the market to go a little too pink. You could go with Secret. And you're going to get less iciness, more pigmentation, more saturation. Yeah, I really wouldn't even call this an alternative. This is just like if you really just were attracted to that baby pink. Then I do have this guy right here, which is Dream Maker. This is going to be a little less saturated, probably more on the peachy tone. And, oh, I don't even have the other swatch. Sorry, I wiped it off. So there's Romeo right there. There you go. Those are probably the closest. Again, this being more softer, more peachy, and this is, you know, being more baby pink, but it gives off the same level of sheen, shine, luster. So I think those would be probably like the same formula. Just one is warmer, one's a little bit cooler. We've got Albert. That's probably going to be my neutral to blue. Ooh, that's like a gray blue. Ooh, you can see me. For that, I think this new one here, Somber, really looks like it would be very close. Maybe a little bit more darker. It's a little bit more purple, not as blue, but they both have the same level of like gray. It's just one leans more blue, one leans more gray. So there's that. Let's see what else we've got. You know, this one right here, I was kind of thinking this might be, this would lean mostly gray into the taupe. This is Wondrous Night. This was part of Sydney Grace's mystery bags for 2020, and they now have made these permanent to their collection. Yeah, just what I thought. There's no blue in this, so we'll go ahead and put this back down because this doesn't really give the same vibe. Let's try this color right here. This is going to be a little bit more blue, a little bit higher luster, but I think you guys would really fall in love with this shadow just the same way you would Albert in the Enduring Love. Yeah, I think that would really be a beautiful option if you were after a shade like Albert from the Enduring Love palette. So let's go ahead and slide that over. I'll get my hands wiped off and we will do John. Okay, let's go ahead and get a swatch of John right here. This is I think this is one of the most highly coveted shades in the palette that I've seen so far. It's a silvery green, and the luster on this is unparalleled. So let's see what I've got here. I did notice right here, this shade, Biscotti, although it's not green, has kind of that nice luster. It just looks like a really, really polished silver. So that might be a nice option, but it doesn't lean green. So just keeping that in mind, if we went a little bit more green, maybe not quite as lustrous, deeper in saturation and hue, we could go for something like Cadet from Sydney Grace. And there is Cadet. So I feel like if you mix these two together, you might get something kind of similar to that. Or if you mixed one of the other shades that I have over there sitting, you might get something similar. I don't know, is this one very close? Not at all. This is Tiara. It's going to be a warm taupe. That's not really what we're after. And that is, I believe, somber. Again, not what we're after. Wow, looks like those are the only two. John seems to be one of those. One of those not so replicable shades. Okay, let's go ahead and get started on the mattes. Let's go ahead, since we started from this side and moved over, let's go ahead and start from this side and move this way. So we've got Juliet. Creamy nude with a cool undertone, I would say. Is that right? Am I looking at it right? Oops, let's not shut that. Okay, let's see what we got in colored mattes. Yeah, I don't see anything. I think most of ours is going to be in the neutrals palette, since this is a neutral palette, I would say. Little pops of color here and there, but for the most part, neutral. Right off the bat here, I see this one being very similar, but just a little bit lighter. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab that one out. That is Peyton's Puppy. I know this is kind of a favorite among the Sydney Grace community, so a little more pink, a little lighter. Yeah, I can see that. A little bit lighter. But again, this is also very close to the color of my skin, so it's going to be a little bit harder to see. But it wouldn't be bad. Let's go ahead and show you the difference here. A little bit lighter. But other than that, it would be serve as a very, very good transition. So I think you would be very pleased if you bought Peyton's Puppy if Juliet was the shadow that you were after. Second one that I'm looking into is this little guy right here. I think this is going to be a little bit more peachy. This is Honesty. Yeah, I think it's a little bit more peachy. Wipe this off. I need a new rag. There we go. Okay. Yeah, this one's cooler in tone. This is, I would say, warmer to neutral in tone. So, you know, let's say you don't really do good with the cool tones and you wanted to warm it up a little bit, go with Honesty. That's an alternative. All right, let's move on to Victoria. I think Victoria is a really pretty cool to neutral gray brown. I think we're going to see more brown than we think. I've never swatched it, but I think, yeah. Ooh, this one reminds me of Cool Brown, I think that's what the name is. There we go. My hand's a little bit wet, but you get the gist. Grab this puppy right here. This is Pismo. This is going to be a little bit warmer. It's not going to be quite so neutral, I don't think. Oh, Yes, I called it. Yeah, there you go. That's the difference. A little bit warmer. So if you can't handle as much cool, it looks a little bruisey on you because you're already fairly cool toned. You got a lot of blue in your veins. Go with something like Pismo. That'd be a good option. All right. Yeah, this is cool brown. I'm getting better at the names of these and recognizing them. And I would definitely say that's like boom spot on. So Victoria is probably cool brown in Sydney Grace's singles. I can't see, this might have a shade hint, little bit more purple, and this has a little bit more gray. But I would say that's pretty close. This is going to be more purple. This is Concrete Road. I think it's actually going to be Passion. I don't want to intervene with those. Yeah, some of these might overlap even, you know, because you could kind of go either way. So let's go ahead and move on to Passion. And because I think Concrete Road would be good for Passion. I'm going to go ahead and wipe off my hands here. Ooh, this is a nice... Oh, that's like a lavender taupe. Sorry, get those little... It's a creamy, buttery matte. Nothing comes close to this formula except Natasha Denona. Pat McGrath's formula, I really couldn't tell you because Pat McGrath doesn't make anything as neutral in her shadows. And then Sydney Grace doesn't really get as dark. Like this is as dark as, you know, and saturated as Sydney Grace gets, but this doesn't really look like any Pat McGrath shade. So I don't know. It would be hard to compare Pat McGrath with Sydney Grace because they're so different. This is, again, Concrete Road. Going to go ahead and swatch that out for you. Ooh, very similar. Very, very similar. This is a bit cooler. This looks like it would buff out to a slightly neutral to warm undertone, but yeah, that would be your best bet. If you were looking at Enduring Love because you wanted the matte shadow Passion, I would consider Concrete Road. These are pretty close. I'm going to say that they're about as close as I have in my collection. So let's go ahead and move on to Cherish. Cherish right here is a light, soft, matte. I think it's like a tan. Oh man, this is so buttery. Like so buttery that I just like dug right into it. Seems a bit softer than Sydney Grace's original formula. Just kind of let a little of that fall. Looking at my shadows, what I have, Iced Mocha. Yeah, I think Iced Mocha would be a really good. You did not hear me blow on this shadow. I do not blow on my eyeshadows. I will tell you that. Just kidding. No, this is too nude. That's too nude. Put it back. It's not what we want. It needs to be cooler in tone. You know, I know this doesn't look... Yeah, that's too gray. Oh boy. This is the one that I just picked up. Yeah, Ice Mocha. This is like San Jose, I think. That's San Diego. Should we try San Diego? These are all going to be like neutral to warm. Yeah, no. No. I can't let you leave with that shade. What about something like this? No, that's definitely way, way more deeper in saturation. Okay, let me go ahead and grab my colors and see if I have something in there because this actually looks like maybe it's a purple. All right, looking at the colors here. About the only thing I could see that could potentially be it is Puppy. Yeah, I guess I can. And I think it's just going to be too deep and yes, too warm. Boy, I don't know. I just don't know what else would buff out. Would something like this look similar? No. How about this? No, it's too dark. Okay, so what do I choose as the color? I guess maybe this. Which one? This one right here probably is actually the closest. So let's go back to that one. Yep, I'm going to have to go with this guy right here. And it definitely doesn't look, yeah, moon landing. It's definitely more gray, but in order to pull off this shade, you have to have that grayness about it. You just really can't escape that. I can kind of overlook the purple lavender hue, but I can't overlap that it's a gray. So this is what's going to have to be the closest by Sydney Grace is Moon Landing. I really don't think they have anything else in their collection that is that close. Other than Concrete Road kind of looks like maybe it's between Passion and Cherished. So you can see it right there, Passion and Cherished. So there we go. Now we can move on to Boaz, which is a gray charcoaly blue, maybe. Yeah. I love, love, love colors like this. They're not black. They're not brown. They're like the closest thing to black without actually being a black. I don't know what it is, but if a palette has a black in it, it's like game over, you know? But if it has a shadow that's like super, 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 super dark, like a teensy weensy bit off of black, I'm all about it. And this is probably mid-tone for some skin tones, but for me it works just fine. I know in the deep shade it would be darker. So, oh, by the way, this is for the light. This is for the light. I know that in my colors, I do have a shade that I just picked up called Dusk. And I think that's as close as we are going to get. And I believe it's this guy right here. Yep, there it is. And it's Dusk. Oh yeah, and it's super buttery too. It's a little bit more blue, but again, it's like so close, but not it. Yeah, I think this is probably what I would choose. If you were after the shade Dusk, which I have to think if you're sitting here watching this video, you're probably not after a shade like Dusk. Probably after a shade like, you know, Ruth or Elizabeth. This is going to be a little bit lighter. Yeah, but again, that'd be kind of fun to put in there, don't you think? And pair it with Ruth. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, like I said, I'd have to be thinking that you're in it for a couple of those shimmers. Probably John is everybody's favorite, and unfortunately, I don't have a lot. All right, here's Robert. Let's go ahead and get this up on deck. Oh, my hand was still wet. Let's try that over. We don't typically put shadows over wet eyes, so this is a little bit. It's not a hard pan. It's just, well, folks, it's kind of like a hard pan. So there's the shade. Looks like a baby puke brown. That's too green. Boy, I think it's probably not going to be in the colors. It'll be in the neutrals. This one's looking really close. Out of my neutrals, I grabbed Tippy Taupe. I can definitely see a taupe undertone right there. So yeah, let's shoot for Tippy Taupe. This was also, oh yeah, those look very similar. Should we swatch just a couple extras on the side? Because I've been giving you like, here's the shadow you got to order. Boy, those are super close though. Those are super close. I think you could also probably you could go a little more green because there is green in that palette, and this is Relax. It's a little lighter, but you know, you could definitely do something like Relax. Definitely not as close as Tippy Taupe. Tippy Taupe is slightly lighter in hue, but nonetheless an option. Okay. Do we see anything else that we think might be close to Robert? This is like a milk chocolate brown, isn't it? So what is the milk chocolatiest brown that we've got? You know, I wonder, is this shade? This is Puppy. Yeah, we already looked at that for that one. Cherish. Sometimes the hardest shades to dupe are the ones that look the easiest. And Passion and Cherish look very easy to me, yet they were the most difficult to find any thing that was suitable for a comp shade. I'm looking at this shade. What would it look like? This is Enjoy the Ride. It's a little dirtier. Kind of getting away from the brown, but you know, could do it. I think I've been looking at this one for a while. That would definitely be more red toned. I don't know that that's the vibe this palette gives off, but let's see. Yeah, no, I don't think so. On camera, you can't really see it, but in person, this is a very red tone. I don't think that's a very good option. These other ones would possibly be contenders for lighter skin tones, potentially, but this is the light palette already, so we really already have the light tones that we need. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you found value in this content, make sure you subscribe to my channel down below. And as always, I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye.